Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here, and today we are back with another video. We have Silver Wolf here, and I want to test her out in the memory of Chaos 6, for example against an opponent like Bronya. There are a few things I want to know, whether her debuff can be cleansed by Bronya's debuff cleanse. So if that's the case, then her effectiveness will be reduced with enemies that can cleanse units. I also want to know how much effect hit rate do I need to test a little bit. Of course, there has been a patch. I think the next rotation onwards, units will with above 50 level 50 and above will have less effect resistance, so you don't need that much effect hit rate. So these kind of tests will be interesting to know as well. Other than that, I'm also going to be explaining to you in a very simple fashion like what her kit exactly does. For some of you still may be confused with exactly how she works because of all the RNG and stuff like that. So enough talking, let's go and see some action real quick and let's jump into it. Okay, so very quickly, the first part that we see here is her technique ability when she enters the battle. It doesn't care what weakness the enemy is. So for example, you see this one was like physical and ice. This one was physical and ice. This is wind and quantum. He also doesn't have quantum weakness. But when they get broken by Silver Wolf's ability, they will be inflicted with quantum weakness, as we can see here, regardless of what they have, and it's like all universal toughness as well. So that's pretty nice. So I'm going to go ahead and just break this one and we can see some action in her kit. So the first layer of RNG that she has is her talent ability over here, which drops a random bug onto the target. This can be triggered whenever she attacks, uses a skill ultimate. All of them triggers this ability as well, and it's based on random. So like the type 1 bug will be attack, type 2 will be defense, type 3 will be speed. The most important thing that you need to know about this definitely will be that it can stack. So you can have all three of the debuffs on the same target, and it also stacks with this ultimate ability, which gives quite a hefty defense down as well. So if you have good RNG, you can actually get quite a significant amount of defense down stacking on top of this, together with maybe like the light cone resolution shines as pearls of sweat, also stacks a lot of debuff on the target too. So let's go ahead and first start off with like a basic attack, and we can see it proc a random debuff. We're gonna just use this guy right here. So as you can see from this silver main cannoneer, you can see this type 1 attack down debuff that's on the target. Okay, so now back to Silver Wolf's turn. We are going to use her skill ability, and this part is the part that is a little bit confusing for I think a lot of people that aren't interested to read this wall of text. What this basically does is, if you see your roster here, I have lightning, I have ice, I have quantum in the same team, and this enemy here has maybe physical ice and imaginary weakness. What this does, if I press E here and implant it on a target, is going to choose one of these elements that I have to implant on this unit. And one thing to note is, if it already has ice weakness, it's going to choose the other two here in terms of lightning or quantum weakness. And it's a 50-50 case of choosing either, because this is the stat that I have. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop it real quick. So we can see now this unit has a lightning weakness on him, and not only that, of course, he gained a bit more bugs, but he resisted I think the type 1 or type 2 bug that was placed. So he only has this like the lightning weakness, as well as this one is from one of her major tracers as well, to give her a bit more damage reduction on the target. So she does weakness dropping into the target. She also has rest down, which is quite significant, like 20%, 8.7% for lightning right now. So it's quite significant as well. Okay, so here's an example of there's already ice and there's already quantum weakness. So when I use her skill ability, it should definitely drop lightning in here. The question is whether it gets resisted or not. So let's go ahead and check it out. So as you can see, now there's all of the three of our typing weaknesses on this target. That is because the skill ability doesn't choose typing that is already on the monster, so it doesn't like become useless in that case. Because if that's the case, then it's like a 70%, 75% useless chance of proccing, as long as the target doesn't resist it. Of course, we're not factoring that in as well. Now let's go ahead and check out her ultimate ability. This is like a huge resistance shredding on the enemy unit. It does a lot of damage on the target as well, especially if you build her for a bit of DPS. As you can see, it's quite a significant amount of toughness breaking too. Okay, now this is the part that I'm really interested in. I want to know if, for example, Bronya is able to cleanse the weakness on one of these like main targets that they have. So we're going to try to like skip to the part. I'll do a bit of fighting, skip to the part that is interesting, and hopefully I can catch it in one of these fights as well, so I don't have to redo this fight. So I'm just going to drop the weakness on maybe this target here, or maybe this one since he isn't weakness broken, so there's a less chance of him being inflicted by anything. So we can see the quantum is now on this target. I'm just going to go ahead and maybe smack, for example, Bronya. Okay, so that was the part that I wanted to test. It seems that it does actually remove Silver Wolf's debuff that is implanted. What this means is if you have many layers of RNG in your roster already, maybe you're tackling content that is already highly, the enemy has high effect resistance, you have, for example, not enough effect hit rate, or maybe your roster looks something like that, where you have varying elements, and if the enemy has more units that can just self-cleanse or cleanse themselves, her effectiveness definitely does face a hit as well. So those are some things to point out and to consider. Hopefully this was a useful video for you, and thank you so much for watching. Do check on these 2 other videos, I think you might be interested in it as well, and see you in the next video.